Well, I know, no sooner have I announced the discontinuation of Trek toys, but I'm back with more Trek toys. I did say in the last video that this was coming and I would be showing you it, and here it is. So, I haven't got into this yet. Not something I was particularly planning to get, but you know, the eBay gods offered it up to me and I thought, well, what the heck, might as well, for the sake of completion and inclusiveness, because this is, of course, not my Star Trek, by which I mean this is derived from the 2009 Chris Pine film. So I'm literally unboxing it in front of our collective eyes here, because I haven't seen much of this either myself. So, the bridge of the USS Enterprise, it would appear, with a bonus Captain Kirk figure included, which I hadn't fully appreciated. Playset compatible with all the Galaxy Collection figures, and I think that when I looked at the Playmates USS Enterprise from the film, it did mention that there was this range that was coming out, and obviously this is part of that range. And this is weird because it is sort of Playmates, but many years after the other Playmates Star Trek toys that I've seen in the past, of course. Still, you know, quite similar articulation. It looks like they don't actually have elbow joints, although that might just be the angle. No, that's probably the angle I'm looking at one of them from, actually. I think they probably do. But I think there's only one figure included in here, possibly. Detailed replica of the USS Enterprise bridge. Now it does look quite detailed, fair dues to them. The bridge layout that they went for the 2009 movie is kind of familiar but not quite, in the sense that having the view screen up front is completely normal. Data screens, these kind of like the sort of freestanding consoles in effect. And that's quite an interesting one as a concept, the idea that you have people sort of standing at their tasks. I guess it's, you know, allows for quite sort of rapid mobility and so on if the situation demands it, which makes sense. You've got the standard sort of con and presumably tactical systems at the front there. So again, that's classic Enterprise, although it's actually classic original, well, yeah, indeed it is classic original series Enterprise, because in the next gen these two consoles were separated. I'm not sure about the scale of it as a whole, looking at the picture. I always had the feeling that the 2009 film bridge was actually relatively small. Now that might just be me, and it might just be something to do with the way in which it was filmed, but it always seemed quite compact. It seems quite bustly in that picture, and it looks like there might be more than just the two. It says recreate the entire USS Enterprise bridge by collecting recreate the entire USS Enterprise bridge by collecting additional pieces inside Galaxy Series figure packs. Well, that's a bit rude. Wow. So in order to get all these extra consoles, I remember being at the back of the bridge, like with the Next Generation Enterprise, and along the side more so perhaps in the original series as well, you've actually got to buy the figures separately. Wow. Interesting approach. And the only other major set there that's mentioned is the USS Enterprise transporter room. That's the only other major set, I think. And obviously with this we've already looked at. So we've got a captain's chair and helm command center, but that is it in this package apparently. So, one other side. Now this is interesting, aside from the fact that it's battered as all heck, of course. But when I say it's interesting, when I looked at I want to say it's the Romulan bird of prey, I'm seeing if I can see it. Oh no, it isn't quite the same approach actually. No, I'm thinking, of course now, I'm thinking of the Enterprise. It had this weird sort of split diagonal side angle going on, and it's the same with this one. So just again says detailed replica of the USS Enterprise bridge. Yeah, so nothing particularly new there. Now presumably this is dated. USS Enterprise bridge playset includes captain's chair and helm command center, main view screen, 2 peripheral data screen, floor plan, playmat, and Captain Kirk figure included. Doesn't give me a date there. Let's have a look at the bottom of it. Yeah, 2009 is all. Yes, it's all 2009. So all that information is on the bottom there. So let's have a look at what sort of state this is in, because the box is very battered, so I'm hoping it's kind of intact. I knew the box was battered. This does not come as a surprise to me. It was one of those auctions where I think it started, very low. So I just thought, well, if I get it, I get it. Great. If I don't, I don't. But I thought it was funny because the other item I'll show you had to sort of link back to my recent adventures at New York Comic Con. So. I thought it would have been rude not to try for it. I'm just wondering if I can in fact get it out this way, because perhaps that was just sellotaped because they felt it was going to come apart if they didn't. Let's go in by the sides instead, shall we? Right, let's see if the contents are as you might hope for. Now, for all I know, this is actually sealed. It's just been auctioned off because they know that the box is too far gone to do much else with. And it's really possible. It's certainly proving quite tricky to extract. I think I'll have a wrestle with it and come back to you. Okay, that was quite a battle, more so than I would have expected. So, we have a little Kirk here. He's got a little hand phaser. So it'd be quite interesting just to have a quick look at this. I'm actually going to have to debubble him to do this. It would appear so. Interesting. Can't quite see what's holding him in. I'm being unduly brutal with him, but quite frankly, it's been a long day and I don't have the patience for it. Sorry. There we go. Right. God, that was unnecessarily complicated. I hope he's worth the effort of extracting him. How do you do? And of course, these sorts of sets, I think, post-date the reference book that I normally use, so they don't actually form part of that, because this is Playmates post the Next Gen and Voyager and everyone else kind of era. So in that sense, they're of no more help to me for these particular sequences of figures. I like the fact he comes with a little hand phaser, and it's got that weird sort of flipping about kind of functionality that they had in the movie, if you remember, between sort of stun and kill, basically. It'd be even better if I could actually extract it, but I can't immediately see how it's held in place, bizarrely. It's just kind of, it's there, but I can't actually get it. It's very odd. I rather assumed it was just going to fall straight out. I think you actually put sellotape over the top of it. Let's just see if I can release that in one shot. Oh, brilliant. Let's just stick it to the sellotape. Good grief. A strange choice of packaging. There we go. Little teeny tiny hand phaser. I'm not even sure if my camera will focus on that, but you get a rough idea. So Kirk himself has knees, and he does indeed have elbows. So I was falsely accusing him of having no elbows before. And it's not a terrible likeness of Chris Pine's head, actually, at quite a small scale. Now I say it's a small scale. I wonder if these scale with the original Playmates figures, because I do know where I have one to hand. Let's try and get his phaser in his hand. That's good. That works. Wow. Okay, so yeah, a little bit of a difference there, I feel. I mean, Mr. Wolf is quite a large figure anyway, but that's way bigger than the previous issue Playmates figures. So he's quite ickle. He is indeed quite ickle compared to the previous generation of them, which is not a completely unreasonable choice, I suppose. It's a choice like any other, but I would have thought they might have gone a little bit more significant, as it's a more modern film. You think they'd be trying a little bit harder, but he's also got this belt that's kind of bouncing around the place. Oh, so he's got a holster for his phaser as well, so that's quite cool. So yeah, I mean, considering it is such a small scale, I don't dislike it. It does feel very, very plasticky. It feels a bit sort of not very durable. But anyway, let's put him aside, because we are, after all, here for this. Now, I'm going to completely forget what the name of the ship was. This was supposed to be like a Romulan mining vessel, but there's an argument over some Borg involvement, apparently. I read in the backstories. Was it called the Neruda or something? Was that it? But it's an interesting one. I mean, that's nice. It's a nice image for the view screen, certainly. And we've got so I mean, there's obviously going to be a lot of detail here in terms of stickers and so on, which I'm not going to mess with. Push the chairs, control desk and captain's chair into the main helm command center. Okay. Slide screen into back of main view screen. Very sensible. And recreate the entire USS Enterprise bridge by collecting additional pieces inside Galaxy Series figure packs. Right, yes. We know, we get it. You have to buy more stuff. Okay. So it's literally a playmat. That's fascinating. That's a really interesting approach. I mean, they've really taken the view on this that they're going to make it into a play piece. So that feels quite flimsy. It's sort of I want to say plasticized. Is that a word? So that just unfurls like this and becomes. Oh, so it's quite big actually. Okay. Now, which way around is that supposed to go? Let's have a look. So I think more. Yes. So that's view screen down there, and I mean, that's immediately. I mean, bear in mind, I've just got this out of its packet, and it was rolled up inside its packet, and it's horribly creased right down that centre line there. That would irk me immediately, because this being quite plasticky, it's going to kind of remember that, isn't it? I guess if you heated it gently, you would probably be able to get that flat. But that's kind of a heavy book overnight kind of job, that otherwise, really. Bit unfortunate. Let's have a look at some of the other pieces then. So we've got the view screens. Let's try and extract the view screen here. Let's have a look at. Okay. Now I'm just thinking back to some. I don't have any other bridge play sets, but I know there was. Well, I think I had an Inner Space one, didn't I? But there is a Next Generation one. Does that really go there? Is that where that's supposed to live? A bit further out, actually, about here, I think. It just helped to knock it down, actually. Yeah, so I think there's a Next Generation one, and I want to say that was done by Playmates. It feels like the sort of thing they would do. So I imagine that was probably pretty big. I think that was quite sought after, actually. And there was a Mego one, I believe, of the original series bridge as well back in the day. I don't know if anyone else did one. I think maybe the Playmobil Enterprise had a bridge element to it. Those aren't ones that I have any examples of, actually. There'd be one Trek toy that I don't have any examples of. So what we've got here is we've got the captain's chair there, which does look like quite a decent captain's chair, actually. And that's the rather nice console there for the front. So that would be in there, sort of down the front. And I think that there should be, which I'll find in a moment, these are some additional chairs there. So those are the sort of the helm, the tactical systems chairs there. And I'm just going to, just bear with me a moment while I extracted some more stuff, which is still security tagged in for what it's worth. I mean, surely someone would have just bought this rather than pinching individual pieces, which they're never going to be able to get any other way. They'd have to pinch the entire thing to get a sensible layout. I'll just skip to the end on this one so you're not waiting. Well, I decided if I was in for a penny, I might as well go in for a full pound, and there we have the command deck structure actually fully made up now. I don't dislike it, actually. It's pretty cool. The figure sits in the chair really well. It's nicely sort of elevated, so he's kind of the centre of attention as the captain. And the other two seats then were terrifying to put in. Oh wow, they do, look at that. They sort of toying back into position, so you can sort of flip them, but they toying back. That's quite cool. So you've got nice sort of, you know, stickered consoles, and they've got the sort of the flight controls, I think they are there as well. And then you just sort of zoink that into the middle there, and that's your sort of command piece. And I think actually, you know, from a sort of role playing point of view, that's okay. I quite like that. And it's a good, because it hasn't got walls up around it and so on, you can get easy access to all of that. So I quite enjoy that. So actually, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's his phaser is going to disappear in 2 seconds flat. I've put it in his holster, but that is in no way keeping it in place worth anything. So that is going to vanish in the first 5 minutes of a child's trying to play with it, of course. But you know, it is what it is. And I suppose if, you know, for some kids, this would be their first Star Trek film, probably. You know, if they're just sort of on the Netflixes and they're cruising around the place and they just happen upon it and they've heard the term Star Trek before, they might assume that this is, you know, aimed at, not unreasonably assume, in fact, that this is aimed at them. And you know, I could forgive them for that, absolutely. So, would this appeal to? I guess what's boggling my mind slightly is that the idea of playmats. You know, I don't know if that's really still a thing. I mean, it's a good. Sorry, I'm just battling with a computer terminal at the moment, so I'm just going to keep ad-libbing over the top of it whilst I try and get it out. In fact, I don't know why I'm bothering when I've got a pair of scissors right next to me. That was dense. So yeah, playmats. Are they still? Is that a playmat still a thing in 2009, 2010 when this came out? I don't know, because there's always a drawback to these, and the drawback is space. Not the final frontier, but if you've got a small flat or something, are you really going to have room for a kid / teenager to have this out all the time to play with? You know, slightly debatable. I'm not saying it's mahoosive. It's not mahoosive at all. That's quite cool. Again, there's a lot of, I don't know if you'll be able to see that. Let me just pinch on my own lights and shine it through. Can you see there's a bit of a sort of ship diagram? There's a bit of sort of almost like a hologram-y sort of thing going on there in the middle, which is, again, that's quite a nice touch. I like the fact they haven't just got sort of random circuitry on there. They look like they've actually tried to do something with it, which is good. So it's, you know, they're trying to give it a little bit more depth. I'm not entirely sure if I've arranged those correctly. Possibly more around there, I think, for that. Yeah, then it's not so much in the way of the view screen, is it? But it's kind of annoying that this is This is still wanting to curl even now. But it's, I like the colouring. I quite like the overall impression it gives, and I can see that with a few more pieces, like cunning marketing swines that they are, it would be even more interesting. And if only you could buy this. Oh, you can buy them separately. So yeah, that's well played on their part. It's well played, and the image is good and big as well. So don't forget that you've still got that sort of image to go into that view screen there. So it's going to look quite impressive once it's all said and done. So I'm not really sure what I was expecting from this. I mean, it is kind of what I expected, but it's also bigger than I expected looking at it sort of in real life, you know. I don't actually have, unusually for me, a tape measure to hand, so I can't actually tell you directly how big it is, but I do have a ruler, so I can do a bit of a guesstimate. So I would say it's about 60 centimeters wide across. So it's a good size. Probably a little bit shorter, probably maybe 45 centimeters top to bottom. But that's a good coverage area. That's a decent, it's a decent size. You're not going to miss it. Albeit the figures are smaller than the Playmates figures were, but you're still not going to miss this. So yeah, it's an interesting choice. It's an interesting choice of thing to do, but it is quite an iconic thing to have a Star Trek bridge, I suppose. And of course it's a far more colourful bridge, I think, arguably, than even the original series one was. But of course, interestingly, for Strange New Worlds, they went back to like an orangey coloured bridge, didn't they? So yeah, I've been quietly impressed by that. Now, let's go on to part 2, and I will leave. Now, this will actually be quite interesting. This will actually be inadvertently interesting. So, this is the second package. Can you guess what it is yet? It's basically full of people, and it seems to be a bit of a sort of a bonus bumper pack full of people. So, again, this is not something that I have looked at any more closely than a computer screen to this point, and I probably won't get them all out, if only for the sake of time at this point. But let's just have a look at what we've got, because I remember thinking that one of these was just sort of comedy value in the first place. And actually, the whole thing is kind of comedy value to my mind. Let's just pop that back a little bit. I think you can see that reasonably well. There's not too much shine on there. But can you see the individual figures here? The Spock looks like he's trying to hail a cab for some reason, going, "Live long and get over here, I need a lift." Yeah, so that's an interesting choice of pose from Spock. He also appears to have a bizarrely elongated hand, trying to do the sort of the Vulcan live long and prosper thing there. So I think that perhaps they've oversold that somewhat. I think they've all got individual stands in the original series sort of style. So we've got, I think that's supposed to be Simon Pegg. I think that's supposed to be Scotty. That is obviously another Kirk, which we've already got one of now. And again, Phaser there. Phaser in Scotty's hand as well, I believe. And probably some sort of tricorder there. And we've got Uhura. She sort of looks reasonable. And then we've got sort of, I see probably a more normal hand. Say Spock might be the only one with an alternate hand, I think, to get rid of said rather interesting sort of almost Wallace and Gromit-esque Vulcan salute. It looks like there might be some phasers or belts perhaps for them in there as well, because that Kirk doesn't have a belt as standard, whereas obviously the one we've just been looking at does have. Now, does this then have, if this is part of the Galaxy collection, which it's supposed to be, we've also got an electronic Starfleet communicator and a tricorder apparently also available in the range, various Galaxy figures, and also Warp figures, who perhaps are more old Playmates size. We've also got an electronic Starfleet phaser there in the range, and we've got command figures. God, they probably milked it, considering there weren't that many people in the main cast. Now, prototypes shown. Final product appearance and colours may vary, apparently. Interesting. I'm just trying to see if it says that this includes any of these bridge parts that they were promising us as extras. And I can't see, looking at it from, because it is quite see-through. There's quite a nice sort of, I don't know if you were able to make it out, but there is a sort of there's a sort of background behind it. If you can see that background sort of shifting with the figures, there's a bit more depth to it. But I don't think that there are any more panels or anything in this box. So that's a little bit naughty of them, I think, because it did say that you could get more stuff with the figures, but this figure box doesn't appear to include any additional elements for the bridge playset. So that's a bit of a chizwas. I haven't used that term for many years, but it is. So yeah, so it's nice that they've got stands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, so it's a stand each. But you know, they're just more of the same figures basically. So I'm surprised in a 4-pack you wouldn't have gotten something for the bridge. Now then, what does it actually say about the characters? Let's have a quick. So Kirk includes utility belt, phaser, and silver Starfleet emblem figure stand. Uhura includes utility belt, phaser, and silver Starfleet emblem figure stand. Spock includes utility belt, phaser, interchangeable Vulcan salute hand, and silver Starfleet emblem figure stand. Scotty includes utility belt, phaser, and silver Starfleet emblem. So there's nothing there to say that there is anything other than the figures in that pack. So, responses in the comments please to whether or not we think it was a good idea for them to not put anything else in this pack, given that it was probably more expensive than a single figure, and it probably only comes, I mean, what I don't understand is, why did they release this? Why is this a thing when you could get them all separately with presumably pretty much the identical stuff? They've just said on the back here that you can get all of those guys, and they've got all of their sort of belts and so on, the Galaxy figures there are attached. So why have they released this 4-pack, I wonder? When did they release the 4-pack even? Might be a better question. Was that an attempt to sell some more because they weren't selling very well? I wonder. That's kind of curious, isn't it? Because I bet you had to get the individual figures to get more bits for the bridge. And this is just a kind of general play pack. But obviously you could populate the bridge quite well with all those 4 without having to buy individual packs. I guess maybe it's just for a budget release as much as anything else. But you know, fair dues if that's the case. But I'm not sure I'm going to give them that much credit. We'll see. But yeah, let me know if this was one of your first Star Trek toys in the comments, obviously, because it might have been. It might have been. Tell me what you think of the figures. Obviously a much smaller scale. I haven't actually measured the figures. Let me just, as I have now got a ruler to hand, I could just have a look at how big Kirk here is. He appears to be, those are not inches, that's unhelpful. I need inches and I don't have inches on this ruler. So if he's 9 centimeters tall, and it's what, 1.5 centimeters to an inch or so, he's probably about 4.5 inch, something like that. So he's not the biggest. He's not the biggest, but it's just big enough that he's got a reasonable amount of articulation and feels solid with it. And I think is that the same scale as? Yeah, I think it is. But yeah, that's kind of weird because there seems to be a lot of duplication going on there. You probably end up with like half a dozen Kirks by the time you're finished, and they all seem to be identical. But anyway, yeah. So I think that probably is about it now. So Trek Toys will go on a sort of indefinite hiatus. It'll probably pop back from time to time if I see something particularly shiny that I haven't shown you yet, or I realise there's a gap or whatever. But as I say, this will be the sort of the last of the really, really regular ones. So I hope you enjoyed the playlist. Do tell all your friends about it. Do subscribe to the channel and like the videos, of course. Please, thank you, please. Cheers for now.